Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. Except this is the interview portion, version, whatever you want to call it. And we have a special guest today, Crypto Quokka from SkyHarbor.io, also co-founder of DuckPools.io, NFT marketplace SkyHarbor on Ergo. This is really cool to see somebody. I mean, if nobody's heard of Ergo, I'm sorry you haven't yet heard of Ergo, but it is a pretty easy to mine coin, and it's also relatively affordable at this moment. I think it's like $1.60, right? In fiat, if you're going to count it that way. So I've let's see here. We got founder of I already said all apart. Developer of plenty of other Ergo projects. Crypto Quokka, pardon me if I mispronounced that, believes Ergo can grow huge, and so do we. And the NFT scene there will be to grow with it. And I mean, hey, who's to say what the price is going to be coming up? And the price has been going up lately quite a bit on the market. If you haven't noticed, I know Bitcoin is down a little bit lately. So, all right, thank you, Crypto Coco, for joining us. We have the icebreaker question we would like to ask you. Actually, see if you can answer this. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are the 3 people you want on your team for that apocalypse?
Oh my god.
They don't have to be people.
Okay. Oh no, off the bat, Master Chief. Dude, honestly, that's all I need. Master Chief. Who else? I'll get Shrek. I think he'd be a great zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, Shrek would be an awesome.
Shrek and Donkey.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, fuck it, Shrek and Donkey. Like, obviously voiced by Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
Without that, he's useless.
I think Master Chief alone would be enough, but Shrek would be an amazing team member. I completely agree with that.
Oh yeah.
In fact, those two alone, but then Donkey would just scare him off because he's got Dragon. Oh, but that's a 4th character. Never mind.
That's a 4. That we don't need Dragon here. I just need, a good accomplice during the lonesome years in the apocalypse.
Cool. All right. I wish I was better versed on this document, John. You were giving me up before. Has questions on an item I'm not sure I'm aware of.
Sure, I got it. All right, so
You can, yeah.
Crypto Quokka, you
What's
are
up?
the founder of SkyHarbor. Yeah, you've been the founder since day one and up to this point now, right? Here,
Yep.
I want to know what you did prior to SkyHarbor. Let's talk about you before SkyHarbor. And before
Yes.
even crypto, actually, before even crypto, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, of course. So I graduated computer science and I got into like the workforce, and I wasn't feeling it too much. Even prior to that, I was working on startups, and I'm big in the startup scene. I like building things that I guess millions of people could potentially use. So yeah, I got into like tech and all that with working on startups. I got into front end because I realized that's the easiest way. That's the only way to connect the user with the actual product.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously you need the product to be like some sort of back end. So I learned in college and all that databases and infrastructure and architecture and all that. So I would just kind of think of ideas. I'd work on products. I found a co-founder, or a co-founder found me, and we built a startup. It failed because it was an event-based thing, and then the pandemic hit. So that's when around when I got a job. I was like I wasn't feeling it, and that's when I got into crypto. And so I bought Bitcoin, and what happened, I actually read the white paper first, and
Oh,
that's what
beautiful. I
yeah.
was about to ask you that. Have you read Satoshi's white paper? And that's great. What I want to know is when was this all happening? When did this whole, orange pill happen?
Yeah, actually I bought Bitcoin in like 2017 and sold a bit before the top then, and I just forgot about it. But then a couple years
Okay.
later, in 2020 is when I guess I was like just indoors and I got curious. I read the Bitcoin white paper. I don't know, I heard a lot about it. I loved how short it was and how simple it all is. Like you don't need to have, a computer science degree to really understand all of it. Obviously, it helped me, but it's short and sweet, and it really sold the idea. And I've been reading stuff about globalization and how the world has become it's sacrificed robustness for profit and speed and kind of yeah, profit, just cutting corners. And with this world, there it's more globalized. People, countries interact with each other much more. And because of these countries, they're like isolated entities. They have their own individual laws. It gets complex, and the laws are complex because it's written by humans, and then it's mediated by humans. So I always thought we need to like reduce complexity in the global infrastructure, so we can increase trade between these countries. I guess cooperation is what I'm trying to say. And when I read Bitcoin and when I read about smart contracts, it hit me. It's like that's how we reduce the complexity in the world is by removing humans and not I don't want to say remove humans, but get rid of all this like lawyer talk and just let code handle a lot of the transactions here because we don't need somebody going in and out and messing with things. We just need something that's automated. So that's how I got into smart contracts. I kind of jumped a bit there, but yeah, I saw Bitcoin. I actually saw huge. I believe that Africa is going to be one of the next. It's going to be like the richest continent
Bro,
eventually, and
bro,
obviously,
I've
yeah,
said this in the past, and I agree with you 100%. People don't understand the evolution that's about to happen in Africa. It's gonna be amazing, and it's gonna
yeah.
surpass us all.
Yeah, and that's what happened actually. I knew this or I thought this before I got into crypto and Bitcoin because Africa has, the youngest population as well as the highest increasing population, while all these other countries, developed countries have already peaked basically in their population. So you need a working population and a young one who's affiliated with technology who knows technology to really surpass that. And not only that, the continent doesn't have much infrastructure in banking as well as energy. So they kind of can leapfrog all of the things that are holding back these developed countries. Because right now we have energy grids and stuff, but what if there's a better way to
Yep.
distribute energy that we can't do just because we already have all this, old infrastructure we've already built in the 60s. We're way off of crypto here, but anyways,
That's
I was in
fine.
Africa,
That's fine.
and then later, yeah, later I found out about Cardano. Cardano was focused on banking the unbanked in Africa, and so
When
I
was
was
this? Like,
like,
what year was this?
this was early 2021. Yeah, early 2021. So the bull market's already started, and that's when I started listening to Charles Hoskinson a lot more. I thought he was smart. Still think he's smart, obviously. And then he mentions Ergo. He mentions uh, Alex Chapurnoy, which is he was somebody who worked at IOHK, which is the kind of the parent company of Cardano, I guess one of the companies. And yeah, he made a lot of research papers, and he's his favorite technologist, which are bold words, right? And I wanted to invest in that. So I looked into Ergo. I saw it was proof of work, which I am a huge advocate for proof of work. I'm like kind of a Bitcoin guy. I started off that way. I got into NFTs and Ethereum and Cardano NFTs and all that because I like smart contracts. But at heart, I really like proof of work because I love the fact that you can convert IRL, like real life energy, stuff that on Earth that exists on Earth into money or into digitalized money, just digitalize energy,
Hmm.
basically. And it's a philosophical thing, like proof of stake. I really don't know. Like you're not converting any real life stuff into whatever. I get it. I get why people do it. It's all game theory and mathematics. I don't knock proof of stake, but I just enjoy proof of work in that sense. So when I found out Ergo was proof of work, I dove in, and I think it was a good idea to invest in it because I invest in teams. Teams, it's not the product, it's the teams that make the product. So I saw Alex Chapournoy's, an amazing developer, favorite technologist, etc. He's really smart. He's a smart Russian guy, and he's co-founder actually. There was another guy who helped found it, but the more I looked into it, the more I loved it. I can keep going. I will keep going. Next thing I found after diving into Ergo is, first of all, it's capped at like 90 something million erg. I used to know the exact number. I don't anymore, but yeah, it's something like that. Only 4.5% is allocated to the team, and yeah, it had good tokenomics. I was into it. It had high inflation at the time. I think mining it gave a lot out, so price could drop or whatever, but I didn't care about that too much because I found ErgoScript. I found ErgoScript after wanting to get into Cardano smart contracts, and then finding out that Plutus and Haskell are extremely difficult. Like, because I code all the time, but Haskell is it's a different beast. Do you guys code at all?
I tinker with it.
I was a LAMP stack developer for a decade.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you fucking know. But Haskell is like basically discrete mathematics in code, and I like discrete math. I just don't want to code in it. I didn't bother. I was thinking it'd take me like months to learn Haskell before I could even dive into Plutus. I found ErgoScript, which is a smart contract language on Ergo, and it's so simple. It's so simple. You don't even need to set up a developer environment. You basically just you write a function, it's Scala based. So if you know Scala, it helps. I didn't know it, but you don't even need to know it to get into it because it's pretty simple. Like think JavaScript, but you can't make lets. You can only make consts, so everything is immutable. Every variable you make. And it's the same as Cardano because it's in a sense that it's EUTXO. They're not smart contracts per se that execute stuff. They're validators. So the smart contract is just a validator that outputs to either true or false. Let's say I build a script. It's a simple one that says if address equals this, then they can take out money from this smart contract. If A equals A. Or yeah, if A equals B, I don't know. And yeah, so it validates. If it validates to true, it outputs the money. If it validates to false, they can't do anything. The transaction doesn't go through. So I don't know. I was really interested in that stuff, and I think the simpler the better. If you can make simple smart contracts, which they did, and they work well, and I believe it's more secure because it's proof of work. People could argue with me on that, but they have different characteristics, but it's a proof of work smart contract concept that they simplified. And then since it's so simple, it's going to introduce more developers to the space because the barrier to entry is much lower. And that means more developers means more dApps means more users. So there's you can think of eventual growth there. Yeah. That's my rant, I guess.
Access.
That wasn't.
Ease of access.
That was the podcast, and until next time.
Yeah, ease of access makes it all that much easier for people to get. I think the thing I noticed there's a lot of coins, a lot of networks out there. Tron was one of the ones that I've been following a lot for a while, and there's an immense amount of development on it. But it's like, but what are people doing, right? Is there something that's actually going on here? And you guys, if you figured out from how easy Ergo is to use and access and program on, and you're thinking, I guess we just need more ideas, more interactivity, more people getting into this space and seeing how amazingly cool it is. Because honestly, to build NFTs on almost any network, we learned about it recently with ordinals, how these guys are, they don't call them NFTs, they call them inscriptions, but on Bitcoin of all things. Yeah, it's not super complicated. It's just they made it seem complicated. John had a very interesting time with that, but it's the barriers to entry are low with Ergo, so that you'd think more people would get into it. So it's great.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely an assumption. You don't know anything yet. I don't know much about Tron, but or ordinals. I don't know what ordinals are. I think it's funny actually. I just found out the other day that in UTXO, a token with an emission of 1, which is an NFT, is called a singleton. They call them singletons in EUTXO. So it's probably not the same on Bitcoin, but just found out. Um, yeah, it definitely needs to. You definitely need to reduce the barrier to entry, but it's also like, okay, Tron. I don't know anything about it. Let's make one up called Prawn. Prawn is is a blockchain with an easy smart contract language, and they want people to build there. That's not the only thing you need. You need something that's gonna last a while, because people don't want to settle into a blockchain that's gonna eventually just collapse and all their work is gone, right?
Exactly.
So that's what I like about Ergo, is that they're focusing on decentralization first before anything. There's no VCs. There's no ICO or pre-mining. They're just focusing on stability and not just being crushed in the long term. And I respect that, and I will gladly contribute to that blockchain.
I would say getting erg, for one, is mining is really, really easy to do. And then because it's also, you can mine it on almost any kind of GPU, even old GPUs, like really old GPUs. And to me, the reason, I'm not trying to enter, the reason I even got into Doge and Litecoin is like, Bitcoin wasn't as easy to find. And it wasn't even harder to find Litecoin and Doge.
Really?
But I still wanted some. So I couldn't buy it. That was the reason. So I just mined it. And you can easily mine erg, and then you can easily trade erg. The thing that I find in general is whether or not the network is easy to access for people. People can go out and pay with a credit card and don't have to pay a massive fee, and they can get the coin and then go take it to the coin, and it transfers quickly. Then you're one and done. It's just trade, do what you want, get the NFTs you want, build the systems you want. It's that much faster. Erg is really easy to do. So
I love that. I will point out. Okay, yeah, I should get on that topic actually. Ergo is not anti-ASIC, but it's ASIC proof. So you can't mine it with an ASIC. It's meant for at-home GPUs, which is why they're which helps in decentralization, because obviously more computers, lower barrier to entry.
Not worrying about people going and massively mining the crap out of it with ASICs.
That's good,
yeah. Exactly. Honestly, see, I've actually thought about that a lot before. Like, an ASIC is an application-specific IC. I don't know what IC means, but application-specific item. All right, it mines whatever specifically. Eventually, there would be ASICs for Ergo, right? It would just be heavily GPU-based rather than CPU-based.
FPGA, most likely, than it's going to be ASIC, because ASICs are very simple, and if you have any complexity at all to it, you're going to have to pass through multiple ASICs for it to make sense at all. It would be possible, but if anyone's going to change the chain at all, like we were fans of Dynamo, and the guy who created Dynamo deliberately made it harder. And so yes, it's definitely GPU specific.
Okay.
Rather. But, and at one point you could do CPUs, but not anymore. And you can kind of do FPGAs because they're programmable, right? But once an ASIC's set, you can't change it. So if the developer decides, well, we're going to change, or vote to change whether or not this is different, no one's going to make an ASIC for it. So
that's true.
Fortunately,
oh yeah, that's a good point.
Ergo is along that path, so no one's going to make an ASIC. I mean, all right, some crazy person might try to do it, but no one's going to really realistically. No, Bitmain's not going to try to do it. None of InnoSilicon. They're not even going to bother.
Okay. See, I'm not a miner, so you know more than me on this. Like, I'm glad you said that. I don't know what an FPGA is, but I understand that Ergo is. Fortunately, I think they can do forks easily to avoid to avoid that.
Yep, to avoid it. So FPGA is basically like, it's not equal to an ASIC, but it's like a programmable ASIC. So
okay, interesting.
All right,
Yeah.
crypto Quokka. I do want to backtrack just because we you went through so much like nonstop, and I don't want to interrupt you because there's a lot of information that came out there, which is good. I like that. I like when guest speakers come on and just talk, just their experiences overall. So just to recap, you went to college, you studied computer science, you graduated, and then you had a startup, correct? And that didn't work out. But you know what? The things about startups and failing, there's lessons in there to be learned, right? You
Oh
can't
yeah,
nec- you have to fail at many things and in order to learn lessons from them, valuable lessons, life lessons, and that's how eventually you'll end up succeeding, if you just continue to pursue it, right?
for sure.
Later on, as time went on, in 2017, you got into the whole Bitcoin. You were orange pilled in 2017. You
No,
rode
no,
the
no, no, no. That was in 2020. 2017 is when I just bought and sold.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay. So, but okay, so okay, well then hold on a second. So 2017 you bought and sold. You rode that. Were you just the FOMO guy? Where you just come in, just bought it, you sold it, and you didn't really care about the tech or looking even into it, or what's the backstory on that? Like who
I
got you
I
into Bitcoin?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't remember. It was all a blur. I had some say.
Trust
I
me,
was still in
bro.
college at the time.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
2017, I remember it was a blur to me as well because I watched that thing go up and I watched the thing go down. I was like, what happened? There was literally no advancement in the Bitcoin protocol at the time. All it was just media just echoing each other, and people just started getting into it. And I was like, what is going on? Why is everybody in? Like, I've been in this for years, and all of a sudden the media takes a hold of it, and it just
hmm
goes up. But what is going on? When is it going to stop? Oh no, it's going down. When is it going to stop?
Wait, so you were there for 2017. Did the same thing happen in 2019 and 2020 as well, or do you think it was already kind of, in the mainstream media, Bitcoin,
Oh
or
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah, yeah. 2019, 2020. Yeah. It was already part of the media culture. 2017 was what really pushed into I guess you would call it general people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was general people at the time. I straight up just I think my dad told me about it and he didn't even
What
invest, but I
what
was
what what does your dad do? How does he know about Bitcoin?
he just has friends that mention it. It's nothing crazy. It's
Mm,
like yeah, he didn't
okay.
know much about it either. But I
So,
I knew about Dogecoin, which is a fun. I knew about Bitcoin for a while, but I mined Dogecoin back in 2014. But it was
oh,
just
that's
like
cool.
me just hanging out with my friends and we had our
Yeah,
laptops. We just got done gaming. And we were
and
like, hey,
that's what people would do, man. That's what people would do,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
a couple years go by, and around 2020, and continue on with your life story. In
true.
2020, you decided to get back into crypto, and this is when you're orange pilled, when you actually took the
Yeah,
time to read Satoshi's white paper, which is like the holy grail of crypto, in my opinion. And I
I
believe
agree.
everybody that's in the crypto space should take a few minutes. It's not a whole novel. It's I think 11 pages at most. Take a few minutes out of your day, read Satoshi's white paper to understand what peer-to-peer transactions is all about and
hmm
why decentralization is very important to the ecosystem globally. And
Oh,
you took the time to read it. It was simple and understandable, and helped you understand more or less what smart contracts are about. That's questionable. Only
you
thing
don't
I
learn
don't I
smart
don't recall.
contracts in the Bitcoin white paper. No, I learned
Yeah.
about smart contracts a little bit after.
Hmm,
Like let's
hmm.
say I got into Bitcoin in like I would say September, August 2020. And then I
Okay.
bought it. I was just chilling around. Price went up. 6 months later, I have some money left over. I dove more into the crypto space. I was very much into Bitcoin, but I was like, there's got to be more to this. So I go online. I actually found NFTs, and I thought it was an interesting concept that people could buy and sell artwork online, and it made sense because I thought
What
art
chain was
like
it?
it was Ethereum. I started getting into it
Okay.
on Nifty Gateway because they have a good on ramp. You can
Yeah,
put in
yeah,
your
yeah.
credit card. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought artwork in the modern world, or not in the modern world, in the like in the real world is you're an artist, you make some art on a canvas and then you sell it to the locals. I thought NFTs as doing that, except your audience is global, like it's the
The
internet, it's
world.
the world, yeah.
Absolutely, man.
So yeah, not limited at all, and that was my conviction on it, and I still think that's the case. I think I think it's a case of building your audience more so um than I don't know, like setting up galleries and all that stuff for the art world. But that delves us into the world of SkyHarbor, which I guess we haven't even
Uh,
talked about yet, which is funny.
sure.
But
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to get
I
there, but there was one person you kept mentioning. You kept mentioning Charles Hoskinson,
yep.
and how did you find about Charles Hoskinson, and how did you end up on Ergo, considering that Charles Hoskinson is he started off with Ethereum. Sorry, I almost forgot Ethereum, and then now he's over at Cardano. But
Uh-huh.
now, how did you follow him and ended up at Ergo?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but I said it pretty fast. But I got into I had this whole theory about Africa doing very well in the future, and I
Uh,
found a TED talk of Charles Hoskinson, and he mentioned literally all of my thoughts about how there's a population of 1 billion people that still need that still need access to financial infrastructure, and that's he would start in Africa. So that's what got me into Charles Hoskinson and Cardano. But like I said, he in some interview or some he does a lot of these, like he talks into the camera and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
don't
I love those things, man. They're great.
they're good. I don't listen to them as much as before, but they're good when they're good. And he mentioned Alex Shapurnoy, which is the co-founder of Ergo, and
Uh,
and he said it's his favorite technologist, like the best guy in crypto in technology or like developing wise. And I'm like, those are fucking bold words from a man I respect. So I had to look into it, and when I found out it was proof of work, I found out the tokenomics, I found out the smart contracts, et cetera. I dove in, and not only that, the community is amazing. It's
great, yeah,
astounding.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, in your eyes, why did you choose Ergo over other blockchains? I mean, Ethereum was already rampant at that time. Why not build a marketplace there?
That's a good question. I think I found Ergo early in my crypto like escapades. And so I just stuck with it because I liked it so much and I'm still enjoying it. Why would I go anywhere else? But I
Okay.
knew I there was Ethereum. I tried learning Solidity until I realized that like I don't know, I didn't like it too much. It didn't feel like
Uh,
I'm talking out my ass right
No,
now. I just didn't
you
like.
had made a good point
Yeah,
earlier how much easier Ergo is to use. So if you get
yeah,
into a language, regardless of what it's based on, I started on
yeah.
C. I hated C in the early
Oh,
days.
that's
And
the worst, man.
when I
I'm so
discovered
sorry.
PHP and MySQL and programming there, I was like, wow, this is so much easier. Because I mean, at least when I see an error, in debugging, it just prints out on the screen. The problem I always had with C was that you get to one error, but you don't know how many other errors there are.
Yeah,
And
after it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And so all the errors are just dumped on the screen because PHP is all web based. It was so much easier to me. So I love
yeah.
PHP programming. So it sounds to me like the reason you dug into Ergo is because it's just easier.
Yeah,
Like
dude, you're fucking
path
right. And not
of
only
least
that,
resistance.
yeah. I mean, it's funny that you're mentioning PHP as the easier language because I actually also hate PHP, but that's because I'm a front-end developer
Yep,
and
yep.
I do the latest whatever the fuck has just come out, React
React.
8.0 or whatever.
Yep.
But actually, what I do think that's number one, but number two by a very close margin is gas fees.
Yeah.
I literally just could not afford even testing on
Yep.
Ethereum,
Yep.
and
uh,
obviously there's a test net, but I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't like gas fees at all. Like at the
mhm.
time, they were huge when I got into it. It was in like
Yep.
January or February of 2021, and
Hmm.
gas fees were already at like $50,
Yep.
and then it just went up more to $100, $200
Yep.
later on.
We were very,
And
very much aware of that crap.
yeah, oh yeah. And okay, I need to mention this. Ergo doesn't have gas fees. Like you don't need gas fees. And it's because Ethereum does the whole transaction on chain, building the transaction and then executing it on chain.
Yep.
But with Ergo and EUTXO in general, so Cardano as well, you build the transaction off chain, you send it on chain, and then the validators just check if it comes out as true or false. True, it goes on the chain. False, it doesn't.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
that
that's great.
simple. You don't.
So,
Yeah.
from what I understand, so it's keyless pretty much. It's ASIC proof, and it utilizes transactions off chain. It sort of sounds like Bitcoin Lightning, doing all the transactions off chain, and then before you go back onto main chain, you have validators just verifying that the outputs are correct before you go back on chain. Correct?
For submitting.
I don't want to say it's the same thing as Lightning. You can have Lightning on Ergo. It's possible, which is super cool, and I want it to happen. I'm trying to talk it up, so maybe we get some developers on that. But yeah, it's you can have off-chain transactions kind of interacting, and then you can move them on-chain. But when I mean that you build the transactions off-chain and then send them on, I guess I mean. Okay, you're right. You're totally right. But what I'm trying to say is that it's expensive to calculate and compile a transaction on chain. Like that's why the complex, like that's why trading a token for Ethereum is much more expensive than trading ETH or sending ETH, you know? You don't have to compile anything or build anything. Yeah. Why not just do it off chain, and then like if it compiles, and then it gets checked if it's true or false. If it doesn't compile, it's not even going to show up at all in the mempool.
Right.
It can't even be read. But yeah, like it just made more sense to me. UTXO in general, input output transactions. It actually kind of makes less sense because account-based modeling is like banks, right? It's simple. That's what I would have thought of if I was gonna make a token like a ETH. I would have thought of the same thing. All right, here's an account. You subtract and then add values from it. But with EUTXO, what's up?
Simple, right? Yeah.
But it's the calculated. It costs more work to change the entire state of the blockchain than it is to just output a number and then implicitly like imply that this amount has changed. You know what I mean? Like on Ethereum, I have $10 and I send a transaction. It says, all right, Crypto Quokka loses this much, blockchain John gains this much. Or subtract from Crypto Quokka's account, add to blockchain John's account. Instead of that, with UTXO, it's like Crypto Quokka has an input transaction of X amount, and then blockchain John has an output transaction of plus X amount. It's implied that I lost, that X amount, and you gained it. You don't have to calculate or change the state. So I don't know. I think it's very smart what Ergo and all the researchers at IOHK have done with EUTXO to allow. I mean, that's Bitcoin,
I can
but
definitely hear the passion that you have for Ergo. That's great, man.
yeah.
All right, Quokka. Let's take some time to talk about what we're actually here for now. All right. Let's talk about SkyHarbor at skyharbor.io.
True.
I am actually showing your website now on Twitch. Let's go over this real quick. Let's see what we have here. I'm gonna just scan through the page just to show the viewers what we got going on here, right? So right off bat, big words, SkyHarbor, buy and sell NFTs. Welcome to the premium NFT marketplace on the Ergo blockchain. Buy and sell NFTs with ease. You scroll on down, you start to see the top collection. You got number 7, No Rally Rain, recently listed. You can see a bunch of cyber citizens that are listed there, mini drops. Let's see, Degen Divers, scrolling on down some more cyber citizens. Yep. And if you want to view the entire marketplace, there it is. And up on the top right corner, you do have a little button that you can click to link your wallet.
I would say compare this favorably to another blockchain that John and I are quite familiar with, is Ravenist. I was thinking that it's like, oh yeah, this is familiar. This looks a lot like what I've seen before.
So let me ask you, welcome. What gave you the inspiration to create a marketplace?
Oh, well, I was just in the Ergo NFT space, buying NFTs on the auction house, and the auction house I didn't like the UI. I love that how it was built and what it stands for and the smart contracts behind it. I looked into a lot. But it was just kind of lunky and not user friendly. So,
Yeah.
and it's also only auctions, and there's an instant buy price that's optional for auctions, but what artists do is they usually set that way higher,
Yep.
so people actually bid up to that instant buy price, and
Yeah.
that affects volume. So I thought this space needs an instant buying and selling
Yes.
of transaction
Yes.
of NFTs. Yeah, so you can actually set the market rate without
Mm-hmm.
having an auction to set it.
Exactly.
I saw a need for it, and the need was for me. I was like, I want this. So I I contacted some Ergo people that I know and love, and they're amazing developers. Crassus Blazin is the smart contract developer, and Hazy, he's the back end, he's the goat. And so we built it out. It was actually we were gonna build it out, but we thought let's do it on like Ergo Hack, which is a hackathon they do. I think it was the third one. So we can have other people with us. It's inspirational. There's also mentors if we have any questions. We didn't have too much, but we built it out and then we released it, and we're still running through. We're still adding features.
Right off the bat, just going to my first impression is the website is beautiful. Just straight up, man.
Thank you.
Not even, of course, it's giving you credit, but even if I didn't know you, just straight up, just going to this website, I go, wow, this is actually really nice. I like the way things are organized. It's
Yeah. It's
simple
easy
enough
to
that
use.
it's easy to use. There's simplicity here. It's not like it's overwhelming. Like, whoa, where do I click? What do I do? No, it's
Yeah.
simple. There it is. It's
Yeah.
not complicated.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for, man. Simplicity is key. And like I said, I just want to reduce the amount of complexity in this world. And there's a buy button. There's the NFTs there. There's the collections. There's the button to connect your wallet. It does get kind of convoluted and confusing once, like, let's say you're not in Ergo and you have to download the wallet
Right.
and then, do all that stuff. But once you're past that, it's pretty easy once you have Erg in your wallet.
Yep.
Okay, so I see you have a co-founder here. Was it Casavis?
Crassus, Blazin, or Blazin.
Bla-
They're all
Blazin.
anonymous. So
And then you have a Taco here, blockchain
Supreme.
backend dev. Supreme.
Yeah, Supreme Dakos. He's new. He's our new backend dev. He's amazing. He's been contributing a lot lately. I'm very glad he's on the team.
That's right. So is it just you three that are just working on SkyHarbor?
There's a fourth, but there's been some anonymous issues that they need to kind of go low key for now. So
Okay, that's perfectly fine. We've had a lot of people on the podcast. I like to keep like that. That's perfectly fine. That's not an issue. We understand, man. It's the crypto space.
Yep. But yeah, like it's just a small dedicated team. You don't need a big team to really do, crazy things. So, yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten pretty far with what we have, and our features that are coming up is I think they're already gonna be better than a lot of other, big chains.
What would you say is your main competitor for SkyHarbor?
Our main competitor, see, when I think of SkyHarbor, I think we're competing with the entire space. Like, obviously, right now we're not really competing, but our competitor would be Ergo Auction House for now. But that's an auction house, and it's not the same.
Right. You have a buy
if
option.
if you're thinking more similarly, maybe JPEG.store on Cardano.
Okay.
Yeah, people say we're the JPEG.store of Ergo, but there's they have a lot more money than us, so
Yeah.
I don't wanna piss them off.
Right.
Let's just say eventually we'll have a lot of features and we'll be able to build these features faster than our competitors because of the beauty of Ergo and ErgoScript.
So you
It's
feel-
not yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of your buyers are just people from like Discord channels for Erg, or are you getting people randomly just from anywhere and not necessarily Erg people?
Oh, right now it's mainly Erg people. I'll say
Okay.
that. But if people do want to get into Ergo NFTs, you just gotta Google Ergo NFTs. I
Right.
think SkyHarbor is the first. We worked a lot on SEO, so it's the first link that shows up, and hopefully we'll have, you know, a little tutorial section that'll introduce new people into it easier. Right now we're just trying to get low-hanging fruit, so things like that would be people from Cardano who maybe want to check out Ergo NFTs because they already know how wallets work, they already know Ergo, all that stuff. So once we get those people in, then we'll hopefully, you know, increase broadly rather
Yeah,
than
I just
narrowly.
did a random Google search, Ergo NFTs, and you guys came up third, and then I did Ergo NFTs, and you guys came up second.
If you look up Ergo NFT, I think
Yeah, let's
not with
see.
the S. Check
Ergo
that out.
NFT, yeah, still second. ErgoNFTs.org came up
Who's
first.
number one?
.org, ErgoNFTs.org came up.
That's
They're
fine.
probably just paying
That's
more than you guys are for the SEO space.
no, they've been around a while. I used to use Ergo NFTs and
Okay.
Ergo tokens. They're just like they're tooling. It's
Ah.
not like you can buy or sell. It's just you view NFTs on there.
Okay.
And yeah, so
Soon,
that
buddy, soon you'll be number one.
Their
Soon.
their yeah, their
Same.
interface isn't nearly as clean as you guys' is. So
yeah, I
And
mean,
that's exactly what I was saying, man. It's a beautiful site, straight up.
yeah, it's really well made. It's attractive. So
well,
What's
appreciate
going
it.
on
That
what's going on the back end with SkyHarbor? What do you got going on in the back?
all right. I'll tell you that yeah, our backend is basically it's more complex than this, but it's a scanner that scans the blockchain. All right. So we don't store anything, any information other than I guess sales prices easily. Everything is on chain. We use the blockchain as a source of truth. We get everything from the blockchain and put it into our database. There's not really anything on our site that directly affects the database or the backend. It's all done on chain. So let's say you send a transaction, you buy an NFT. We don't add that to our database until we see the transaction pop up on the blockchain, and then it's in the mempool, and then it's confirmed, and then we put it into our database. So there's nothing like we try to keep it legitimate for what's showing up on the screen.
So are you
Yeah.
holding the NFTs?
No, it's all
No,
run by
yeah.
smart contracts.
How?
yeah,
all-
it's all
that's
DeFi.
I am. That's,
Mhm.
What?
We have no custody of your NFTs or the funds. So
Alright.
how it
Listen,
works is we
Quokka, listen.
What's up?
I am now. Once we're done with this, I'm gonna actually have to tinker with your site just because that's what fascinates me. I want to see how this works. So go continue. I'm sorry, continue. I just want to plug that in.
Yeah. So we have a smart contract that people. It's like it's a script address. So people send NFTs to it with criteria. Can you hear me, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. NFTs to it with registers and criteria that say the price of it, who's selling, etc. You know, I think that's basically it. But it goes on the chain, on the smart contract, and then if people want to take it out, they have to pay X amount that it says to take it out. And that's where those validators that I mentioned earlier, like we're not like we build all the transactions on our website. So let's say you click buy, it builds a transaction and sends it out to the blockchain, and then the validators check the transaction and say, oh, okay, they're sending the right amount. Let's output the NFT to your wallet, and then output the money you sent into the seller's wallet. And there's also royalties as well. So if an NFT artist or NFT collection has royalties, it also outputs X% of those royalties to the artist as well. And also, we do take fees, 2% fee, just to maintain the site. So
Right.
Some does go out to that.
Sure. But see, that's a lot more convenient than like the way I'm comparing it only to Ravenous because it was the first NFT, well, other than OpenSea, the first NFT interface I'd ever seen. I received NFTs before I ever bought one. Someone just sent me one. It wasn't even an asset. It was just here's an NFT. I was like, okay, I guess that's what people do with these things. But I didn't know
Yep.
about the idea of buying them in the early days. But with Ravenist, when I first bought one of my first Raven NFTs, it was you send the coin to us, our the owners,
Yeah, the
and then we'll
escrow.
send you a certificate, and we'll send you the NFT. And it's like, well, Why isn't this automated?
It's bullshit. No, it's not automated because they don't have smart contracts, man.
Exactly.
And I mean, it is. I think it's automated now, but it's still not smart contracts. It's like they probably have a wallet that you send to, and it runs some
server-based
code.
transaction, not a
Server-based,
chain-based
yeah.
transaction. Yes.
Exactly. So you can't guarantee anything with that. Like,
it's more
unless obviously
it's like
What's
a
that?
holding. It's a third-party holding. I can't think of the name for it now.
It's the middleman that we're trying to get rid of.
Exactly, and that's the whole point
Yeah.
of SkyHarbor being pretty much just here's a place where you can check everything out. Not like the ErgoNFTs.org, but I mean a place you can actually check them out and then go buy them.
Yeah. And what was I gonna say? I forgot. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and if it's important, it'll come back to you. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
So in regards to your I guess your clients slash customers on the marketplace, what do you do to I guess prevent scammers and ruggers and I guess illegal posters that posting stuff that is not content appropriate?
That's a very good question, and it's honestly one of our pain points. And that's one issue on Ergo Auction House, which our competitor. It's because it's completely open to anyone, right? Anyone can post something. So what a lot of people do is they post fake versions of other NFTs, hoping that somebody goes in, thinks it's cool, and buys it, and it's basically worthless. So what we do on SkyHarbor is we verify. Oh, how NFTs work, by the way, on Ergo is you have a mint address. The wallet that you mint with is the mint address of that NFT, and that's how you verify that the NFT is legitimate. And it's up to the artist to tell people like, hey, if it doesn't have that mint address, then it's a fake. So what we do is we get the artist's mint address. That's actually what we store in the database ourselves. We store the mint addresses under a specific collection. A collection can have multiple mint addresses. So let's say an artist has multiple wallets, they can put it all under one collection. And then we just make sure that the NFTs that are being listed are coming from that mint address. And if they're not, then if you go on our site, you can see an unverified checkbox in the marketplace page. And those are all unverified listed NFTs, which aren't in our mint address list, right? So they're from anyone. I mean, it could be legitimate, but you don't know. They're just not verified right now. So,
and by default, you guys have that check where you can say, "I want to see the unverified," but you warn them before you go check it out.
Yeah,
like, these ones are unverified, but everything else we do by default is verified.
Yeah. Oh, we have to make sure people know what they're getting into because there's just so many scams with that. But yeah, if you see a collection you like and you think it's gonna do well and it's on SkyHarbor, we confirm the mint addresses with the artists, so
cool.
it is legitimate. But that doesn't take away from rug pulls and other kinds of scams. Like, let's say a project verifies their mint address, they promise all these things on the roadmap, they sell out, and then they disappear. That we have no prevention of that. I don't think anybody does, unless, I really don't think anybody does.
I guess then the natural question from that is, if somebody does get rug pulled, is there any recourse for your customers?
No, there's not, unfortunately. But we do have EUTXO or Ergo allows for eventually we want to implement refundable drops. Not NFT marketplace sales, like you can refund a secondary market sale, but let's say we're working on a launch pad where people can make vending machine drops, so they just people just send an X amount of ERG and then they get their NFT from the artists themselves. Wow. Eventually, we want to expand on that and allow for refundable drops. So let's say within a week, you can get your locked. The artist can't take it out until 2 weeks later. So let's say a week and a half passes and you're like, these guys fucking suck. Let me take my money out. You can do that. But maybe, what the guys can do is maybe they can just wait an extra 2 weeks to rug pull. So
that's true.
There's really no escape from it. Even sometimes we even have people stealing from other blockchains, which are stealing art from other chains, or reposting their art in multiple
Yep.
chains, and we don't want that. And that's easier to find. We just reverse image search,
Right.
but sometimes it gets biased, and
Yep.
we rely on the community to actually, inform us about these
Yeah,
things.
it would be nice if there were. I mean, eventually, I'm sure there is. If there's not one already, so I suggested this a while ago. Man, I just got ripped. I got ripped on Twitter for even suggesting that. But I was like, there needs to be an authentication service that will go and compare blockchains to each other to make sure that the images are not being pulled from one to the other, or vice
Absolutely, dude.
versa.
I would love that.
And man, the
Yeah.
people came out of the
Like
woodwork to
Glassnode.
just beat me into a bloody
It's
pulp about it.
literally, it's the perfect tool.
Yeah.
It would solve so many problems. I
Yeah.
can't believe people are arguing with you about it.
No,
I
it
just
was
don't think it's possible. Like, I don't think it'll happen anytime soon.
no. I mean, somebody's going to. I'm just saying that there's going to be. I was hoping for a chain that could help to authenticate. So it's just like you can hash every single image, right? And if you
Yeah,
hash the image, then you can just match it up. Well, is it on another chain? Okay. Well, if it's there, then you know it's been stolen. And that
You're
that
right.
would be a great thing to have as a service that for all NFT marketplaces to just even if it's just a blockchain that was just automating all the hashing. You're just going out and pulling every single image, hashing it, and then it's sticking it on the blockchain, saying, "Look, these are authenticated. We know they're real. You don't even need a certificate anymore because you can just do this as an off-chain check." So, at some
All right,
point,
I have a question
someone will do
for you
it.
then. Yeah, so I understand hashes are the same for the images, but let's say somebody compresses it or changes it very slightly. How much different is the hash?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is it could be very different, but what you need to do is
Exactly.
to take that authentication as saying this is the de facto. Of course, can someone lie? Yeah, of course they can. But their
There-
lies their
it's-
lies then encrypted into the blockchain. So
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's a good like base tool to have, and I really hope we get it soon. But yeah, like the NFTs on Ergo are hashed as well, and it does help. It does help in avoiding reminting random stuff. Because I work with a lot of drops as well, like NFT drops.
it is a weird thing. John and I do talk about the politics of this and the legalities of this on a regular basis in our podcast, the regular podcasts, where we're just discussing what in the quote unquote real world outside of crypto, classic art space. It's kind of hard to have a non-original. You like the Mona Lisa. It's the definitive. Are there lots of copies? Yeah, of course there are. Could you think that you're buying a copy and think you're buying the real thing? No, because it's hanging in the Louvre. It's the only place it is.
Yeah.
Is there any way of faking a digital? Not really. I mean, or faking an authentic? No, it's not really any way of doing it. But in that space, in the quote IRL space, there's all these laws that, yes, people skirt them all the time. Yes, people do things illegal all the time. Does that not stop people from doing? Are there consequences? Yeah, there's big consequences, horrific consequences. We're watching Sam Bankman-Fried eat his consequences right now. But if in the digital space, if there's no consequences, then people are just going to do what they want. And until there's some kind of recourse to it, then we're never really, even if we do have an authentication chain, it will never really make people stop. And I like to say, this is the same, I guess the ultimate analogy is like if someone really wants to break into your house, they really want in, they're getting in. Even if you have a guard dog, even if you have armed guards at your house, they're still getting in. So
Yeah. They'll James Bond that shit.
exactly.
So
I got
Yeah.
a question, Quokka. What is a SIG USD?
a SIG USD is the stable coin on Ergo. It's an algorithmic stable coin that's based off of like reserves, which is SIG RSV and etc. It's a lot actually, and I don't want to lie and say I know everything about it, but yeah, I think it's a pretty solid stable coin. It's kept its value of or its peg at $1 throughout the whole bear market, from $20 down to $1. So it's worked pretty well.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, ERG hasn't done so well. Ergo hasn't done so well over the past year. It's
Not
down
at all.
91%. I know you have a really deep passion for Ergo. And my question to you is this gonna affect you and SkyHarbor, considering that Ergo is down 91%.
Hey man,
From
if
its
it was
all-time
gonna
high.
affect us, it would have affected us by now. You know, that's by 80% drawdown, we would have, if we didn't give up. I will say that I have to put a little bit less time into SkyHarbor now because I had to get a job. But I think it was a good thing because now I have more money to invest into SkyHarbor and pay those maintenance fees and those server costs
All right,
and
bro.
just
So this is
promote
where I'm getting
everything.
at. Now,
hmm
so this is where I want to get to. What does Sky Harbor 2.0 look like in the future?
SkyHarbor 2.0.
Yes.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that you guys say that the website looks good, but in my opinion, we haven't had a designer at all. I'm a front end developer and I just kind of like eyeballed the design and I made it look as nice as possible. In the future, we want to get a UX UI UX designer, improve it, make it more on theme of a harbor in the sky, some futuristic, some light, some clouds, shit like that. I don't know. We'll see when we get the designer. There's that, and then we'll have features such as, like I said, refundable NFTs and refundable drops, Launchpad in general, so anyone can go in and create a drop. Uh, we want eventually financing NFTs, and that's a big point I want to drive. Is that okay? Ergo's biggest disadvantage compared to other blockchains in NFTs. I don't think it's a big disadvantage in most things, but Ergo is a financial tool. All right. So it has 2 minute block times, which in the finance world, it's not that long. But with NFTs, nobody wants to wait 2 minutes after purchasing or selling. So that's an issue. But I think that in the future there will be a lot of utility tokens on Ergo, utility NFTs that could be, I don't know, could be property, could be luxury items like watch NFTs that whoever owns the watch that's theirs, or whoever owns the NFTs, the watch is theirs or something. Stuff like that. Um, and I think obviously all that needs to be traded somewhere. So once those utility NFTs come out, we will definitely be talking with those projects and getting those out. And we don't want us to be a marketplace website. Like you go on the website and you purchase. We are a marketplace platform. All right. We built a smart contract, a marketplace smart contract, and Ergo has this thing called a headless app. So what it is these smart contracts are on the blockchain. You don't need a front end to interact with it. We have a front end. The front end builds the transactions and sends it out, but you can have your own program that builds your own transactions and sends it to the blockchain, to the smart contract that's decentralized. But obviously, if you build the transaction wrong, it's not going to go through or it won't be validated. But yeah, so it's a platform. We want people to use this headless app, this smart contract that we built, um, on their platforms, on their, I mean, not platforms, on their UI, their front end. So right
Yeah,
now, I think,
I noticed you have the GitHub down below. I didn't open it up, but there's a link there for the GitHub.
yeah, we have documentation as well on our API to receive all the NFTs that are being listed on SkyHarbor. So what you can do is you can build, let's say you want to make a
Actually, the link goes directly to Discord.
Discord. No way, wait.
Hold on, I might have accidentally clicked the wrong one.
I'm pretty sure the GitHub
Yeah, there it
link
is. Yeah, I got
works.
it. I got
Okay,
it. I
yeah.
apologize.
Oh, that's all good. Oh no, it goes to Discord. You're right. Oh
Well,
no, I'm.
I just clicked it, clicked again. It
Oh,
went
I'm
to GitHub.
dumb. I did the same thing as you. That's funny. Yeah, so yeah, we have documentation because let's say you're a new NFT project. You get verified on SkyHarbor, you sell your NFTs, that people list them there. You can build your website and actually use our API to display all the listed NFTs there. And then right now we're working on something that you can actually implement transactions onto your site as well. So people can actually buy and sell these NFTs on your site rather than on SkyHarbor. So what we can do with this is we can actually apply this to, right now we're focusing on video games. So there's a lot of Ergo gaming projects. You saw their Cyber Citizens. We're talking with them a lot about this. They actually have a little a marketplace in game called SkyHarbor or something. I don't know, but it's super cute. You go in there. I think they use our API, and I'm helping them build transactions to interact with the smart contract. There's Blitz TCG, which is a trading card game that's being built on Ergo. I think they're multi-chain, so you'll see them around. But we're talking with them to try to implement a marketplace directly into their game, and you don't see a lot of video game or a lot of NFT games with a marketplace in game. So yeah, I mean there's a couple, don't get me wrong, but I think if we can make it super easy to implement, it could be everywhere. Yeah. So I think that's our main goal right now, and obviously in the future we're gonna expand to other tokens in that sense.
So as you continue to expand, here's my question to you: are there any career opportunities with Sky Harbor?
Um, if if you are an Ergo developer, if you're passionately into Ergo and I see you around a lot and I think you're sick and you're kind of funny and you don't take anything too seriously and you're a great developer, I'll be like, "Hey, you know what? Maybe you want to try being on SkyHarbor," but that's rare. I don't meet a lot of people like that. So our close, tight-knit team of us four, we are all very passionate about Ergo. We've done a lot of Ergo development before SkyHarbor, and we've done a lot of other development before SkyHarbor, and we're also not assholes. So it's like a that's the concoction you have to have if you want to position there. Obviously, in the future, maybe we get funding, maybe we have more money, and we can expand. You can have an opportunity here, but the rules still apply. You can't be an asshole.
Okay, all
That's my
right.
answer.
I
No,
think
no
it's
opportunities right now.
definitely
But
a
good question.
good policy to have. So no assholes on the team, man. That's
I love that. I'm just gonna put that on my
It's
application.
revolutionary,
Not
dude.
an
Nobody's done that
asshole.
before.
exactly.
All right. So you're very passionate, obviously, about Ergo and Sky Harbor. It's like it sounds like it's your baby, man. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, what advice would you give someone that wants to do something that you're doing, like Sky Harbor? If you
That's a
had.
great question. If you're listening and you want to get into Ergo, you don't even have to be a developer. If you are a marketer, if you're good with design, if you're a writer, if you're if content creator, probably a lot of other stuff, you can contribute to Ergo. You can actually, help a lot there. If you go onto the Ergo Discord and ask around, you can ask me, like, tell me like, I'm on Discord, I'm on the internet, I'm on Twitter. Just message me. I'm not scary to talk to. I can help you out with that. But if you're a developer and you want to get into Ergo, there's a hackathon going right now, actually, Ergo Hack, and that's a great way to get in. That's when you go in, you ask as many questions as possible because there's mentors around, and you just try to build whatever. It doesn't have to be complex, it doesn't have to be hard. Ergo's young. There's a lot of tooling that still needs to be built. There's a lot of dApps that still need to be built that could be simple. We just now got a P2P lending net website called Signify where you can ask for a loan and somebody else can give that loan. I mean, I don't know how difficult it is. It sounds hard, but it's relatively simple. Like these simple ideas still need to be built on Ergo. So yeah, just come in and start asking questions and looking around. Fortunately, there's a decent bit of documentation, and if you're a developer, it's honestly that's another thing that hooked me on to Ergo is I'm a dev. I go into the Ergo dev chat on Discord and I talk with the founder Kushti, which is Alex Chapurnoy himself. Like I ask him questions and he answers, pretty fast. He actually audited our smart contracts on SkyHarbor. So
Awesome.
yeah, so it's insane the dev support we get here.
It's great, man. All right. So at this point in your life, today is February 9th, 2023. You've already gone through a lot of experiences building this, just learning, testing it. What's one thing you wish you had known before you began building this?
Dang. Oh man. That's a hard question. What do I wish I knew? I wish
Care for a
I don't know if
lifeline.
No, yeah, give me a lifeline, bro. Give me an example of what other people have said.
So, well, how about this? Do you have mentors in the space that taught you a lot and that you learned from, and that got you to this point now?
Oh, okay, yeah, I gotcha. Don't overthink anything. Don't overthink it. If you want to build something, just dive in. Because I remember when I first got into
That's
Ergo,
great.
I spent like months, like probably not even months, like a year in the space, reading, learning, meeting people. It was great, don't get me wrong, but I was like, I kept thinking like I can't do this, I can't do this. And then eventually I got into it. I learned more. I made some small things. I actually I'm one of the founders of Ergosaurs, which is an NFT project on Ergo. And I added an auction house onto our website. It's just a fork of the Ergo auction house, but like better UI, and it filters out all the fake Ergosaurs and other projects. So doing that, I learned a lot. And then after that, I was just like, this is a lot easier than I expected. And that's when I dove in and actually started building all these, or not building, but, setting up SkyHarbor and finding co-founders and designing and architecting and all that. So yeah, just don't hesitate too much.
Hesitate.
Right.
There you
Don't
go.
hesitate.
That's
There you
good.
go.
That's good, man. I love that. All right. So, Crypto Quokka, I've asked you a lot of questions to this point, but I don't have all the questions. So, I want to know if you were able to step into my shoes as the host, what question would you ask yourself that I did not at this point?
Um,
Did I miss anything?
did you miss anything? You asked some really good questions, and I
I
also
appreciate
went
that.
off. Yeah. So I guess the question is,
What are you drinking?
what am I drinking? I'm drinking a Stella right now. That's that, but that I'm a Blue Moon guy. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
All right. All
Um,
right.
I wish I had a good answer for that, but yeah. So yeah, I'm a beer guy. That's the question I would ask. Yep.
All
How did
right.
no. You should ask me how to pronounce crypto quokka because I don't even
Okay.
fucking know. I don't care. I'm
I,
not.
I've I've seen
Yeah.
other people on YouTube. You've been on other podcasts, and people ask you the same thing. How do you pronounce it? How do you say it? You know.
I'm not even Australian. Like it's an Australian animal. I just think they're cute. I call them
Quokka.
quokkas. People say quokka. Um, I think I've heard Australians say quokka, so that's the one I'll
All right.
go
So here,
by.
yeah. So here's that's a good question. Why is it Quokka? Why did you choose Crypto Quokka?
Oh, actually, that is a good question. Because I actually wanted to build a crypto uh, identity. This was right before I got into Cardano and Ergo. I just made an account. I thought crypto something. I saw a crypto dog or whatever, and I was like, it can be an animal, crypto something. And then I just remembered Quokka because I had a friend tell me about them a while ago. They're really cute and they have no natural predators, so they just walk up to you and say, they're not scared at all and they're cute as hell. And I was like, that works. It's alliteration, crypto quokka. It's got the k sound.
No
And
fear.
no fear. I slapped a pair of shades on that bitch and I added a chain. And yeah, now
Awesome,
I'm here.
man.
That's
All right. So with that
it.
said, Crypto Quokka, where can our listeners connect with you online?
Yeah, so I am on Twitter, crypto underscore quokka, QUOKKA. And yeah, you can basically find everything from there. You can find Sky Harbor from there, or just go to SkyHarbor underscore IO. Um, yeah, that's it.
All
Then
right,
you can
buddy.
find me on Twitter.
All right. It was great talking to you, man. Good luck.
Yeah, you
This is
too.
great, man. I love this project. I want to talk to you afterwards. So hang out for a bit, all right?
For sure.
All right,
Appreciate
Jake,
the
you all
call.
ready to wrap it up?
Yes. Thank you all for listening in on the show for this guest interview of Crypto Quokka. You guys can check us out when you want to see more information. We do have our Patreon where we'll be showing you additional information. But you can always check out our CoinTree, C3 Media, CoinTree. You can donate and you can check out the rest of our media. With that said, Make sure to check out the next 2 interviews we have coming up in the near future. The next Thursday and the following Thursday after that, we have 2 more guest interviews that are going to be happening. Make sure to check those out. Join us live on Twitch. At the end of every show, we always say, stack sats and hodl.
And huddle.
Adios.
Adios.